Hello and welcome to Pedro's Movie Cavern. My name is Pedro and this is my movie cavern. As you can see, I've moved from the desk back over to the corner. Hope you enjoyed that little new 70s style exploitation movie opening. Took me about 4.5 hours to edit that to the way I wanted it to be. I do have another version that is a little bit shorter because who wants to sit there for 20 seconds and watch an intro? But I wanted to add certain things into the intro. But yeah, it was a bit of fun seeing if I could kind of copy the old style of the blaxploitation movies and the 70s, like cop thrillers. To be honest, the actual inspiration for the intro was really dodgy 70s porn movies, but it looks more like a blaxploitation movie. So, this is a What the Fuck Did I Buy? I'm going to change the title of this because no one seems to be watching them because of the title. So, it's probably just going to be Physical Media Update. I like to have like titles for my videos that are a little bit different to what you generally see. So that's why I chose What the Fuck Did I Buy? Because, I mean, I swear a lot on this channel, and it's not for kids. I tell you how it is. I'm straight up. I don't care about monetization or anything. I don't make money off videos. So I swear. So What the Fuck Did I Buy was a good title, but it's not getting the views that I was hoping it would get. But this is essentially a physical media update. This covers everything from movies to CDs and maybe even games. I have no games, by the way. Most of the games I buy now, I buy digitally. And I can't really show them off. But today is a coffee day, which I drink an awful lot of. So the first off is I'm going to show you some CDs. I don't show like chart music or the other kind of music that I'm into. I only show film related CDs. In the last video I showed you that I picked up the Star Wars soundtracks, the John Williams Star Wars soundtracks, and the Independence Day, and also this, which is really one of my favourite like soundtracks, Jerry Goldsmith's Star Trek: The Motion Picture soundtrack. But I've also said that I don't just listen to John Williams. I listen to a lot of different composers when it comes to film music, and one of the main equals, I guess, to my love of John Williams is also my love of Ennio Morricone, who has done some fantastic soundtracks over the years, everything from The Thing to Hateful Eight, but also just a lot of Italian spaghetti westerns and The Mission with Robert De Niro. But I've got two from him. I've also got, I forgot to show you this, I also have this, which is so good. It's Morricone at 60 years of Morricone, which is a really, really good album. And it's nice to have a compilation of all of his different music. I've had this for a couple of years now. But I like to have like the full original soundtrack score. So the first one I picked up was a deal through eBay. I wasn't originally going to buy it, but I was sent an offer to get it for a certain amount of money, and it actually came today, which is really, really helpful. And it's the original soundtrack for The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. This was in HMV. Pretty much the same album, but like instead of a white border, it was a red border. This is just like an incredible score for an incredible Western. And yeah, I absolutely adore Ennio Morricone's music. I would love to get my hands on the original score for Mission to Mars, but I've never seen it anywhere. And so yeah, this was £7, including shipping. So it was £6 for the CD, and then another £1 extra for the delivery. And yeah, so The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, so good. Ecstasy of Gold is incredible. Then probably one of my favourite soundtracks. The disc for this is in my PC because I was converting it to MP3 so I could put it on my phone. But Once Upon a Time in America is such a gorgeous soundtrack. Like, one of my favorite scores of all time. It's one of my favorite gangster movies, and it's probably my favorite Sergio Leone film in its current version. But yeah, this is an absolutely gorgeous soundtrack, and such a great movie as well, though. So, like I said, this is in my laptop at the moment. It's in my CD drive on my laptop, which is hooked up to my laptop, because I was transferring it to the hard drive so I could back it up essentially as an MP3. So, Once Upon a Time in America, such a good soundtrack. Good soundtrack. Gotta get the coffee. Then, this one was on... I think this was like £6 as well. But this was brand new. This was sealed when it came, but the case was slightly broken. It was from Amazon. I've got another one coming today, but I'll show that in the next video. Oddly enough, I ordered this because I was watching the film last night. Not last night, the night before, because I was flicking through Netflix and I found it. Even though I've got it on Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K, it was on Netflix because... nah. But it's The Goonies. Dave Grusin's score for The Goonies. I flipping love The Goonies. The Goonies is so good. Dave Grusin's score obviously makes the film so much more better due to its sense of adventure, and even the Fratelli's chase at the beginning just sets the tone of the movie from the opening sequence up until the last shot where you see One-Eye Willie's pirate ship just going off into the sunset, which always I thought about this while I was watching it. Now, I've seen The Goonies like a million times, but for some reason, this last time that I watched it, it dawned on me that they just let this ship, this pirate ship, float off into the ocean from the cave in Astoria, Oregon, and no, it's just full of treasure. And nobody thought, well, hang on, it's full of treasure, so why don't we just go and get the ship with our modern, like, sea boats, as opposed to airboats, I guess. So they just let this pirate ship that is like 200 years old, 300 years old, just sail off into the sunset with all this treasure on, and no one thought, well, hang on, we've got tugboats, let's just go and get it. It's not going to get that far. We've got motors on our boat, so, I mean, it's 1985, it's not 1922. But yeah, so even though, like, there's some logic flaws in The Goonies, it's still such a great movie. And it's a film that's never going to be, like, topped for that type of film, because it's like the top tier kids adventure movie. And all these other films that come out that try to copy and emulate that style of filmmaking, like even shit like Stranger Things was always meant to be like The Goonies, but it doesn't feel like The Goonies. It feels more like what's it called? Super 8. Super 8. It feels more like Super 8. Like, The Goonies is a kid's film about adventure, whereas Super 8 and Stranger Things feel more like 15 rated sci-fi movies that are somewhat influenced by that, The Goonies, basically having a bunch of kids on some sort of weird quest, whereas in The Goonies they're off on an adventure. They're innocent, completely innocent, and just going off on an adventure. And the villains are rubbish as well. Like, the Fratellis are useless villains. Like, they are really, really bad villains. Like, it shows this right at the beginning, where, like, one of them is in prison. I mean, yeah, he escapes, but one of them is in prison. But yeah, they are a rubbish villain. But all the villains in these other movies, like Stranger Things as a TV show, and Super 8, like, in Super 8, the villain is an alien. And in Stranger Things, the villain is... what is it? It's multiple different things. Vecna, there we go. But even, like, the closest I've seen anything come to the sense of adventure that The Goonies has is Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which nailed that adventure aspect so well, with great music, pirates, kids on an adventure. The kids aren't even annoying, whereas as opposed to something like Stranger Things and Super 8, the kids in that, some of them are annoying, but none of the kids in The Goonies are annoying. Mikey, Mouth, Data, Chunk, even Brandt and the two the two girls as well. I watched it the other night. Annie and I can't remember the other girl's name now. But yeah, like those kids, like they are. Mouth can be annoying, but you still don't hate him. And that's why I think that none of these films and TV shows that try to emulate and copy the same sense of style as the Goonies ever hit it, because the characters that they have written and the villains and the music never hits the height of adventure that you get from the Goonies, because the Goonies is essentially a swashbuckling adventure movie but for kids. It's great. I fucking love the Goonies, and I love the music for the Goonies as well. So yeah, this is so good. This is the actual score. It's not the soundtrack that has music on it, so it doesn't have The Goonies Are Good Enough by Cyndi Lauper on it. Then we have the soundtrack to one of my top 5 films of all time, and I've said this many a time. The top 5 films of all time is... I can't even see it now. Oh my good lord, man. Good lord. Oh, there it is. One of my top 5 movies of all time. And I don't know whether or not to get the 4K of this. I don't know whether or not it's worth me splashing out. I've got 2 Blu-rays, 2 DVDs. So will it be worth getting the 4K? If you've seen the 4K of this and it's better than the Arrow release, then please let me know, because I might just actually pick it up. But it's Ronin. Ronin is one of my top 5 movies of all time. And I now have the soundtrack score by Elias Simarai, which is an incredible score, which gives you that whole sense of espionage and mystery and thrills and like even the car chase music. But it's that opening like music of watching De Niro's Sam walk into the French cafe and hiding his gun at the back under a crate because he never walks into a place he doesn't know how to walk out of. Just so good. And this, I paid a little bit extra for this because it is a very difficult soundtrack to get hold of. This is released by Vares Saraband, which I think is a German company that release a lot of soundtracks, which are very difficult to get hold of if you can find certain ones, because there are certain ones that I would like. One of them came up on eBay the other day, and it was at a bidding price when I started watching it at £11.40, which is the score, Jerry Goldsmith's score for Joe Dante's 1985 awesomeness, that is Explorers, that was limited to like 3,500 copies. That ended up going for £76 on CD. This is CD, not on vinyl. And I've seen the vinyl on Discogs for 20 quid, which is a very good price for something that is very, very hard to find. But the shipping is over the price of the actual product. And I am not willing to spend $24 or 25 quid on shipping for one record. That's 50 quid. Just, I can't afford to spend on one record. But I paid 15 quid for this because it is quite rare from what I gather. But yeah, I spent 15 quid on this. That's including the shipping, because the shipping was £3.50. So about £12.50, I think, is a pretty decent price for an album. I think obviously due to the lack of interest in soundtrack scores, unless it's something like Star Wars, you're going to end up having to pay a lot of money, and that is unfortunately what I have discovered. Especially certain films that I want, like obviously I want the score for Explorers, I want the score for the Boy Who Could Fly, The Last Starfighter, and Young Sherlock Holmes. Young Sherlock Holmes and The Boy Who Could Fly are by Bruce Broughton, and who did? Craig Saffin did the music for The Last Starfighter, and obviously Jerry Goldsmith. I would love to get the rest of the Star Trek scores. James Horner did the awesome soundtrack for The Wrath of Khan also did Battle Beyond the Stars and Crawl, 2 more awesome soundtracks that I would love to get hold of. But yeah, I'm so glad I've now got this. This is actually in my hi-fi, which is in the living room, because I was listening to it before I went out today. And yeah, so glad I've got this now. I love Ronin. So that's the music out of the way. I mean, as you can see, I've kind of added a few more. Well, I haven't added. I've dug out most of my soundtracks. I don't have a huge amount. The problem I have with these soundtracks is that a lot of these are music from, not original scores. So something like Platoon, like this is a soundtrack, but it's the music that is featured in the film. So there's things like Merle Haggard's on here, The Doors, Jefferson Airplane. It's not the score. Same with Kill Bill or Tarantino's Death Proof. These are essentially just compilations of songs that are used in the movies. Like, I've got the Kill Bill score. Oh shit! I have the Kill Bill score. I say score. I have the music for Kill Bill. With songs, obviously, the album was produced by the RZA. Same with this one, which is the soundtrack for Streets of Fire, which again is just full of tracks that are used in the film, not actual score. Although there is a little bit of Ry Cooder on here, who did do the original music for that. What else is there? And possibly one of the greatest compilation soundtracks of all time, Dirty Dancing, which I can't get this bloody sticker off. Dirty Dancing does have an amazing soundtrack. So yeah, so that's the music portion of this video. So now for the Blu-rays. Today I was in HMV, had to get out of the flat, go and have a look around to see if there was anything worth picking up. And I love collecting movies. Like, I've got, like, obviously you've seen my previous videos, you know that my collection is a lot bigger than this. I love the premium collection. I absolutely adore it. I think they are fantastic editions of films, and it's sad that they've kind of ended now. And I also love, like, the Arrow releases, like The Last Starfighter, and I'm really digging the Studio Canal releases as well. Like, I've got, like, Blazing Magnums and just random stuff like The Devil Girl from Mars. Like, I like picking these movies up because they are films that I've either not seen, or they're films that I've always wanted to watch. Like, I picked up the other day, I picked up The Final Program. Now, I've seen this. I've seen a really, really dodgy copy of that. I said, it sounds like I watched a pirate copy. I didn't. It was a VHS rip, which from like 20 years ago. But then there's also companies like Signal One that do really great editions of things like Death Race 2000 and like The Earth Dies Screaming. I saw this for the first time on DVD and I fell in love with it. It's a fantastic movie. So I've got a few of them. But then there's also like the boutique labels like 101 Films, which didn't really start off as a boutique label, but now has obviously become sort of boutiquey with their Black Label line. And obviously Eureka. I got some more Signal ones as well up here. But like the Eureka stuff is pretty good, but there's not a huge amount of stuff on Eureka that I absolutely need. There's a couple of BFI films. BFI are also pretty good. But again, that's more art housey type of stuff. Yeah, there's a few that BFI have released that I've picked up, like Tales from the Hood and Brannigan. But a lot of the films that they release aren't really stuff that is aimed at me. However, my favourite of the sort of newer boutique labels, and one brand that stands out better than others in my eyes because of what they do with their products, is Powerhouse Indicator. Indicator, like, my Indicator collection is slowly taking up the majority of that shelf. This from from 20 Million Miles to Earth all the way up to John Carpenter's Vampires are all indicator labels, releases. Yeah, there's some films on there that aren't really my cup of tea. Like the Mexican like horror movies. I'm not really into Mexican horror movies. But there are films that I am interested in. Like I've watched... Where is it? I can't get it now. I watched Force 10 from Navarone. Loved it. Like, that's a great edition of Force 10 from Navarone. It looks really good. So there are certain films that they release that I do want. And I think what stands out, what makes them stand out more than other labels is their standard releases. Like, you can pay $24.99 for a limited edition release from Powerhouse, or Indicator. Or you can wait and get the exact same release, just without all the fancy pants hard box and all the other guff that comes with it, for $9.99. Like, I picked up Geronimo, an American legend, a film directed by Walter Hill, one I've always wanted to see because it was one of the Walter Hill films that always eluded me and I never got around to watching it. I picked this up for $9.99 today. That's insane. That's the fact that there is this boutique label that is releasing movies in a limited edition capacity, and then 3-4 months down the line, they're releasing them as a standard edition for like almost a fraction of the price. Is incredible. And I think a company like Arrow would learn to take the same sort of approach to releasing their stuff, because there is stuff that Arrow have released that I have wanted, but I am not willing to spend the price on that. Like, especially in America, they release a lot of 4K stuff in America, and I can understand with licensing and all that stuff. Like Conan the Barbarian, I would kill to have had the 4K of Conan the Barbarian, but I'm not willing to spend the price and the shipping to get it over here. And I know, like, Conan the Barbarian is like Universal or Disney or 20th Century Fox or wherever it is that owns that release in this country. But there are like limited edition stuff that would benefit and probably make them a bit more money as well if they released those limited editions in standard releases as well. Just get rid of the hard box, like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Like, I love Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I got the box for a steal, so I'm not really going to moan about that. But what I'm getting at is that, like, if a company like Powerhouse can release a limited edition of one film for a certain price, and then a few months down the line re-release that film in a standard release at a fraction of the price, like, I don't understand why other boutique labels aren't following that as a business practice. Like, it makes sense to me to do something like that. And the fact that I am able to pick up 3, which I probably should have done online because it's 3 for 20 online. That's another good thing. Powerhouse always have the 3 for 20 deal on. If you want to get 3 standard releases from Powerhouse, go to the website. 3 for 20 quid. I probably should have done that instead of HMV, but I was there. And they have flash sales all the time. So, yeah, I picked up Geronimo, a film I've always wanted to watch. Now I can. The second film I picked up is a film that I watched years back, but I only watched it I watched it when BBC Two used to show movies in the afternoon, and I think it was when I was previously unemployed. I'm still unemployed, but I can afford to live. BBC Two used to show movies like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or Channel 4 used to do it as well, but it was mostly BBC Two. You don't tend to find that anymore. And this is a film that I watched back then, years and years and years ago. And it was one that I always remembered. And it was one that I would always like, I wonder if I'll ever see that again. And yeah, it's The Swimmer with Burt, I was going to say Burt someone else there, Burt Lancaster. Is The Swimmer. I don't remember a huge amount about this, but I remember it's something like he's trying to get home by swimming through every single swimming pool on his way home. And yeah, I can't really, like I said, I can't really remember much about it. But for $9.99, I'm going to watch it because, and plus Burt Lancaster's amazing. And the final powerhouse film is because I'm a huge World War II fan. I did actually record a 45-minute video of me recommending World War II movies, and I rewatched it. I rewatched it back, and it wasn't good. It was a terrible video. For some reason, I do worst videos when my worst videos are ones when I'm sat down. If I'm standing up, then I don't seem to have a problem. Like, I can just waffle. But if I'm sat down, I can never think of anything to say. So, as I was saying, like, I'm a big fan of World War II movies. If you follow my letterboxd, you'll see that I've been adding all the films I've been watching. Majority of them have been World War II films, like Bridge on the River Kwai and the Dam Busters and stuff like that. So, one that I've been recommended by lots of different YouTube channels. I say I've been. One that is recommended by lots of different YouTube channels is the 1976 version of Midway, which is the Battle of Midway, which is to do with Pearl Harbor. And I think it got remade by Roland Emmerich a couple of years ago, and apparently it's not too bad a film, but they always say, oh, watch the original one. The original one is far better. And what can I say? Charlton Heston never fails to deliver, ever. Like, I watched Grey Lady Down with Charlton Heston. Amazing. Just great. So yeah, Battle of Midway, World War II movie. Really looking forward to checking that out. I might actually watch this tonight. It's 132 minutes. It was made in 1976, and it was directed by No, it wasn't. Jack Smite. So yeah, looking forward to that. $9.99. Can't go fucking wrong. And continuing the World War II theme with these last two movies. These are classics. Probably two of my favourite pre-2000s or pre-90s World War II movies. The first one is a film that I adore and I've watched multiple times. I watched it the other night. It's Bridge Too Far. This is an epic movie. This is a just insanely huge, grandiose Richard Attenborough directed movie about the failure of Operation Market Garden, which was to take the multiple different bridges in Holland, which would then lead into Germany. Same as, like, maybe not so much the Remagen Bridge, but this was to, I think it's Nijmegen. There was 3 different bridges that they had to take to prevent the Germans from entering Holland. Yeah, it was a very big military gamble that kind of just didn't work. I think the British were overrun by the Germans. I mean, it was an interesting. Well, it was obviously a gamble. So was it going to work? Was it not? But this follows multiple different, I say characters, because I don't know if they are based on actual people. I think this might be a fictional account of the failure of Operation Market Garden. But it's got a huge crew in it. A huge cast, should I say. The cast is Gene Hackman, Sean Connery, Anthony Hopkins, Robert Redford, James Caan, Elliot Gould is in it. Just Dirk Bogarde. Just a huge cast. And just a great World War II film. Just fantastic. And the last one is an upgrade from the DVD that I watched the other night. I've managed to get Bridge Too Far and this one for £7. Both together for £7, which was a great deal. It was on eBay. And I was like, for £7 for 2 Blu-rays, why would I turn that down? And it is the Bridge on the River Kwai, starring Alec Guinness and William Holden. Fantastic film. Just so good. Brilliantly directed by David Lean. Gorgeously shot. The music's fantastic. Was it Colonel Bogey March? That one. Just, yeah, about a group of POWs in Burma who are forced by their Japanese captors to build a bridge. And it's basically a personal war between Alec Guinness's straight-laced, like, stiff upper lip, by the book, by the Geneva Convention major, and the Japanese commander of the camp, who has to get this bridge done by a certain date, otherwise he will be forced to kill himself because of Japanese tradition of not honouring an order or something, would then force him to commit seppuku, which is to stab himself and kill himself, which is a ridiculous thing to do, but it is a part of Japanese. It was a part of Japanese tradition to do with honor and stuff. But yeah, it's an incredible film, and well worth your time if you've never seen Bridge on the River Kwai. This won how many Oscars? Like 8 Oscars? 7 Oscars. There we go, including Best Picture. So yeah, Alec Guinness is phenomenal in this movie. So there we go. That is my update of what I picked up recently. And yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed doing it. And I like talking about music. And I'm probably going to show more music as well when I get them. Because I'm always on the lookout. I've looked through everywhere from Vinted, HMV. What else is there? eBay. I've looked on Discogs. It's just they are so difficult to get hold of. But I enjoy talking about film music, because film music, without the music, films are kind of dull when you really think about it. If you watch like Star Wars without the John Williams score, it wouldn't be the same movie. It's the same as watching E.T. or watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Without John Williams' music at the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, with the da-da-da-da-da, without that, the film is dull, is dead. Like, music makes the film what it is. Like I said about The Goonies works as an adventure movie because the music by Dave Grusin, like, encapsulates that entire idea of kids on an adventure, and like a swashbuckling adventure. And it works so well. So yeah, so that's it. This is the video. My name is Pedro. Hope you enjoyed the little intro. It's just an experiment to see how it looks. I've still got the old one. I'll most probably use that. But yeah, as usual, I'm going to give you a salute, throw up the peace sign, and tell you that Pedro is out. Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Have a good one.